Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be showing off some of the new agent stuff in action. We're going to be showing off how to pull off a 5+ negate. So it's going to be 5 negates plus your opponent cannot special summon, which is pretty much a GG in the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! So there's a new card that people are running now called Small World, but it works insanely well in this archetype. So you reveal a monster in your hand, and then you show a monster in your deck with its same type, attribute, level, attack, or defense, exactly one of these. And if you do, you get to banish the revealed monster face down, and then you get to add one monster from your deck to your hand with the same type, attribute, level, attack, or defense as the shown monster. So this lets you have a lot more consistency with the deck, and Master Hyperion can just go away real easy. But then technically, if you do want to run Primal Seed, you can maybe do some stuff with it. But to open up with the 5 negates, I mean, with Avarice, you're able to instantly, with just one copy of Neptune, instantly that's going to be 5 monsters. Neptune is 1, your Venus is going to be your 2nd, and then the 3 Shine Balls, that's already going to be 5, and that's not even counting the Link monster. So Avarice is fantastic in this deck. Just getting access to Neptune via any of the Searcher cards, technically Earth is another Searcher, you'll have insane consistency to get Neptune. So playing multiple copies of Avarice is totally A-okay in the deck. But on top of that, the Celestial Knight Parshath lets you add Christia. With Avarice, we can reset those Shine Balls. And the deck is going to be pretty consistent to pull off of turn 1 Christia and extra negates. So this card can pay for some of the Shine Balls, but since we Avarice the Shine Balls, we're going to get them again. And then we're going to get additional, multiple Shine Balls, so we can get more cards. And with Retort Fusion, that's going to allow you to have access to Baroness de Fleur by other ways, because usually you can use the Agent and you can use the Majesty Hyperion, but here we already have Arclight, and on top of that we have Bow of the Goddess, so this is going to be 3, 4, 5 negates, and then our opponent cannot special summon. And like I said, this is going to be a pretty consistent thing to do. As long as you have access to Avarice, you'll be able to pull this off 100% of the time, unless of course your opponent has hand traps. But let's talk about if your opponent happens to have hand traps or other things that can maybe ruin your day, what can you do? Because this deck actually has a lot of things up its sleeve as well. So this first duel over here, we'll show it up against another player that is actually playing Unchained. I believe this is this one, but nonetheless, it doesn't really matter too much. We got Millennium Eyes. This can block your opponent's stuff. Diviner can actually send a in chest, so that's this card right here. Let me go over it real quick. So it can actually dump this card into the grave. This happens to be a fairy, and then you can get the pop effect as well. But if you happen to have your opponent go first, you have multiple copies of Orange Light as well in this deck. But pretty much your Venus is like the card that needs to be not negated, because that's going to bring out 3 extra monsters and allow your plays to be a lot more powerful. But once Sanctuary on the Sky is on the board, you're going to be able to have access to more things, getting rid of this, going right into Christia. And pretty much Christia is all you need in a lot of different duels to make a game. Baroness actually is a really powerful card. Lets you pop one. He's going to be like, okay, you're targeting. I'm going to activate my effect, which is a mistake anyways, because, Millennium Eyes is going to absorb. So either way, he's losing turn 1 pretty much. This card is basically a GG for a lot of different decks, as if they don't have access to like a Dark Ruler No More, which you guys will see in here in a moment, what happens when Dark Ruler No More comes out, because Celestial Night Lord Parshath will re-bring out Christia, because Christia will re-top deck herself. So basically your opponent has to deal with this board and either OTK you or make it so like you can't special summon. So it's a very rough matchup for a lot of different decks. I'm gonna show you guys up against, let's say, Virtual World over here, which is still another like relatively popular. I'd still say Virtual World is a pretty decent archetype, but Sacred on the Sky and this, it just lets you search out so much in the deck. And like I said before, Neptune is literally all you need to go off with your combo. Neptune going right into Venus, summoning it from the hand, then you just get all the Shine Balls. Unfortunately, drawing a Shine Ball does suck, but the deck is gonna be super consistent again for the play of locking your opponent out. If you do want to go add those extra negations, you will definitely need to have other cards. Avarice is like kind of like the go-to, and since you could play multiple right now in the TCG, yeah, you might as well go play multiple. But a lot of times again, you open up with this combo is like super consistent, and he's just like, yo, I literally cannot Yu-Gi-Oh because Christia says you can't Yu-Gi-Oh, right? But let me show you it up against a player that will draw into Dark Ruler No More. As Dark Ruler No More, it would be kind of like, maybe your go-to, or let's say a lot of people are running Chalice, Droplets, because you have to have some sort of negation for this. Even if he had a hand trap, well, we got called by the grave in this circumstance, but you do play multiple copies of Orange Light, which of course, we didn't draw any for the gameplay, but this is an excellent card also to stop your opponent from hand trapping you, and you'll be able to go off with your combo. This deck is a really I'd say it's almost an all-in turn 1, like you're exploding pretty hard turn 1. Dark Root no more coming out, but like you said, with Christie's effect, remember that this card, instead of it going to the graveyard, it goes to the top of the deck, so you will redraw this card. If you set up the fairies correct, like right now, we currently have how many fairies? We got too many. How do we actually get rid of one? Well, just wait and see. Or we could use Celestial Knight's Parshath effect, and it has that awesome ability to re-bring out another monster. Christia going to be top deck. And Christia actually lets you re-add a card. Back in the day, people used to re-add back Honest. Not that that gets used anymore anyways. So we're going to see the Majesty Hyperion activate its effect, resummon itself, get rid of another fairy, and then heck, Christia, re-add back another card. Now keep in mind, normally you'd want to re-add back your hand traps, like the orange light, and then it's going to be GG for Mr. Kaiba Man over there. So this pretty much gives you a clear idea on what the deck can do. You can turn 1, do this very, very consistently, and then even if they stop Christia is more likely going to be coming back the next turn unless they bounce it back to your deck. But remember, Parshath has that awesome ability. If you have Sanction on the Sky, which no one gets rid of because there's so many cards that re-add back it, but if they don't get rid of that, you're going to be able to have that awesome ability and just use Parshath, go for another fairy. Now this is when if another fairy monster you control is sent to the graveyard, except during the damage step. So if they do happen to like get rid of it, you can banish one and then summon another fairy from your hand whose level is higher than the banished one. So pretty much that's really easy. It doesn't even have to be like the exact level. So let's go and hop into the deck profile for this variant of the deck. And big shouts to my homie Magus Lucius for hooking me up with the gameplay as well as the deck profile. So the highlights right here are going to be some of the newer cards that we maybe haven't previously talked about. Specifically Sacred Water. It just lets you activate one from your deck or add one monster that lists it. If it's already activated, then this card you saw the gameplay, it heals you up for each Hyperion or the agent monster, which it just basically pays for the shine balls. It's the healing effect is whatever, it doesn't matter. This is the star player over here. It lets you have more consistency. You can get rid of one of these if you don't want to go for it, and then lets you add one with those requirements, which is really, really good. And before, like, we would do Bareness, which is still very good. Bareness plus like other cards. We'd have like 3 or 4 negates, but this is 5 negates and your opponent cannot special summon. Granted, you open up with Avarice. Now, I was even thinking about when we go for the deck profile, is like technically a Divine Punishment is what I would consider a card that, like, yeah, if you open up at turn 1, it's really good. It might be a win harder card. It does technically add that potential like 6 negates plus your opponent can't special summon, but like 5 negates and your opponent can't special summon is probably going to be enough already. Most of the time, Christie is like the go-to card to stop. I was even thinking you could just bump up Avarice to 3. The reason why is literally just one copy of Neptune already enables it. I've even seen lots of people try Mallet. The reason why is like this card is searchable, and on top of that, you don't want to be drawing your shine balls anyways. So if you want like a really explosive turn 1, you could consider doing this as well. So keep that in mind if you want to. I would just suggest 3 copies of Avarice, because Avarice will let you just pop off so hard that your opponent cannot do anything. And on top of that, because Herald of Orange Light can be utilized as an additional 2 monsters, like when you go for like your Venus combo, like let's say you go Neptune or even Earth going into add this card, then you get rid of this card, and then you go for the Venus. I mean, you'll instantly already have 2, and then maybe 3, 4. Like, you'll have easy access to Avarice. I feel like, yeah, of course, if your opponent negates every single thing that you do, you might not have the monsters to go for it, but that's just how YuGiOh is anyways, and I feel like it gives you the strongest potential. But that's like my only real like suggestion over here. There's Divine Punishment over here, as long as you control Sanctuary in the Sky, which is pretty easy with the newer support. But anyways, onwards with the deck profile really quick. So we had multiple copies of Shine Ball, your 1 Cursey, because it could be recycled anyways. We got Hyperion, 3 copies of Majesty Hyperion, which at the end of the day, it's basically just a card that lets you go into this, but this card's just better, so people have been just making this instead. And then we have 3 copies of the Venus, 3 copies of Ash, we got Earth, we got 3 copies of Diviner, 3 copies of Orange Light, 3 copies of Neptune. We have Instant Fusion, 3 copies of the Sacred Water, 3 copies of Retort Fusion, which just brings out this, which happens to be a fairy, and it is also a tuner, which works with this really easily. And like I said, I think you can bump up Avarice if you want to. You can also have Foolish, Reborn, 3 copies of Small World, and then we got Called by the Grave, and then Sanctuary, and then Divine Punishment. For the extra, the important cards you guys saw already, but if you are going second, obviously dump this card with the Diviner if you need to, and you can block your opponent with the Instant Fusion with this. But there's not really anything that's super important to mention that we didn't go over. you could definitely go into this and probably, even if you want to, you could probably even do a Saryuja combo, because if you just go for Venus, you can go Link Spider, and you can make technically Saryuja, and then go cycle through 4 cards. So that is also another option for you, but you'd have to fix up the extra deck here. For the side deck, nothing too important. This card, it's just unfortunately outclassed by most cards, but it is like a decent card. It's another Synchro Tuner, but again, the turn 1 plays are just much better to lock your opponent out of special summoning at all versus just Book of Mooning a monster, right? And it has to be an effect monster. Not that it really matters too much, but yeah, Small World is a great addition to this deck. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you enjoyed the video, and let me know if you guys have any other suggestions for this deck down below in the comment section below. But if you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you do or do want to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh content in the future, hit subscribe, turn the bell, and you'll definitely see more very soon. But take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'm out. Peace.